In today's video, I sat down with one of my most successful students who over the last couple of years, I've helped become a consistently profitable trader in the stock market. Now, Jack is gonna share his story, his journey, and hopefully help give you a path to profitability in your trading. So without further ado, I wanna let Jack introduce himself, and I hope you guys do enjoy this student interview.
Going on, guys? My name is Jack Krasnowski. I'm from New Jersey. I go to Sacred Heart University, rising senior. I'm a six-figure entrepreneur. I'm an Amazon seller, and I'm an option trader.
That's awesome, Jack. Yeah, so I spoke with you the other day and I wanted to get you back on. I want to have a conversation. Obviously, you've been one of my students inside my mentorship group. I want to talk about your journey as not just a trader, but an entrepreneur and how you found success in trading. And we could talk about talk a bit about what you're doing too, as far as e-commerce. I think the end goal here is just to motivate and inspire anyone out there who's looking to get into trading and make money online. So yeah,
Awesome.
tell me what was it that sparked your interest in trading at first?
So I've always loved money. I have a picture with my dad when I was like 2 years old holding a calculator. So I've always had like, the entrepreneurial mindset. My family is filled with entrepreneurs in the construction and transportation side of things in New Jersey. But I've always loved the stock market. I've been investing since I was around like eighth, ninth grade. And I remember I had like $2,000, $3,000 in like Dogecoin, and Elon went up to like go to SNL, and there's like a lot of hype around that if the Dogecoin would go up and like pump, but it went down. And I remember I got like kind of annoyed and I sold everything. But as throughout high school, I've kind of been like like a novice investor. I'd hold shares in stocks and never really got into options. But around college, freshman, sophomore year, I took a deeper dive into like the options side of things, and I loved it. It was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made in my entire life. I started on TD Ameritrade and was on Robinhood, but TD is really where things kind of took off because there was Thinkorswim and everything. And I found that through social media. I wanted like a cool kind of trading platform, and social media like showed me that Thinkorswim was like really cool and like really advanced. You get like all like the EMAs, the moving averages, the all like the little like studies you can add to your charts. Um, and sophomore year, that summer heading into junior year is when really things like kind of took off. I put my head down and I worked so hard and I studied a lot of charts, watched a ton of YouTube videos, and really took a deeper dive into fundamental analysis because I think that's probably the most important thing in my eyes. Knowing what the economy does and like when certain events happen, like CPI, PPI, FOMC meetings, and how they shift the markets. I think that is very important to know. And I think that's probably one of the first things you should look into when you're starting out and when you're becoming like, when you're becoming more of an advanced trader and just starting out, the fundamentals are really key. And I actually teach four students now up at college. And that's like the first thing I told them is like, I'm going to help you guys familiarize yourselves with like the economy and like what kind of pertains when certain events happen and like how they move the market. And it's definitely worked.
Okay.
They became more familiar with it, and they've
Awesome.
noticed trends, and it's been
Wow.
great.
From student to teacher.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you remember your first option trade and how that went?
Yeah, it was actually on a Chinese EV, XPEV, ticker symbols are XPEV.
Okay. Yep.
I remember I longed it. I had around 800 to 1,000, so like the contracts were fairly cheap, but I had some money to play with. I started with around $5,000. I wanted to bring that up too. And now I trade, what you'll get into later. I trade with around 10 to 15, and I'll explain why I do that. But I started with around 5 grand. Bought like eight to $1,000 worth of contracts, and I remember I ended up making 300, 400 off it. And I called my dad. I was like, "Holy crap! Like I made this off this," and I told him why, and it was awesome. Like ever since then, I fell in love with it.
Do you
And
think that was beginner's luck, or were you actually educated and you did your
yeah,
research?
I think it was a little bit beginner's luck, but I always had that background. I've always had like that in like investing background because I've always held shares in companies. Like I've always bought like shares and like let them grow over time and
Mm.
would let the dividend just like reinvest. So I've always had that background knowledge, but I do think a little bit of beginner's luck was in play
Sure.
there, but it definitely inspired me to keep going and keep working really hard, which I did. because now I'm pretty, I think I'm pretty advanced, and I can kind of relay and teach others now, which I love to do.
What's your trading style?
So I'm a swing trader. I like to look at I start with like a week. So I'll go with like different types of like daily charts and mark the support and resistance lines. And I'll narrow that down through the days. So I'll start with a broader time frame. And I'll go to like the 5 day to like the 1 day, and I'll mark the support and resistance lines. Because that'll help me get a grasp of where the stock is at. And I only trade around 5 stocks. I like to keep it very, similar to what, I like to keep them very similar. So I trade a lot of tech. I've done very well with tech. So I trade QQQ, SPY, NVIDIA, SMCI at times, AMD. So stuff like that, and Apple too. So what I do is I use support and resistance. I also use volume to kind of be aware of where large orders are going and to see where the big market movers are and the manipulators. And I use that to kind of gauge my trades. Sometimes I'll enter a trade at the end of the day, just when kind of when the day winds down and I have a feel for what the next day is going to be like. I'll enter my trade then, whether that's a long or a short. And that's obviously with, I look at the fundamentals for the next day,
Mhm.
see what's going on there, because they obviously have a very, very big factor. But that's really it. I like to keep my charts very simple and keep risk very, very tight. And I value, a lot of smaller winners over like a couple big winners who can really like boost your portfolio, because that just shows you're more consistent at the end of the day. And that's what I try to tell, everybody now who I like kind of relaying what I do to them. I try to tell them now, and they notice it, and
Hmm.
they're doing fairly very well too.
Okay, that's awesome. I
Yeah.
like that. The consistency approach and
Hmm.
the compounding effect.
Yeah.
Small wins, not, small base hits, not
Yeah.
home runs.
Yeah.
Let's talk about maybe what could probably be considered a home run. I know, but I want you to share what your biggest month
Yeah.
was. But I
Yep.
don't also just want to talk about wins. I want to talk about losses. But
Of
first,
course.
what was your biggest month?
My biggest month was February, and that was 30,000. I had some very phenomenal trades. I had SMCI shorts, Nvidia longs. I had an $18,000 day. I had a $10,000 day. And I
Wow.
also had a couple nice winners in there with SPY and QQQ. Couple hundred to $1,000 winners in there. So I've done pretty well in February. January, I traded late in January because I was focused on my e-commerce. So in January, I had the back end of it, and I had some pretty good winners in there too. A couple $1,000 days in there too.
Wow.
Um, so yeah, that was my best month, and fundamentals played a major factor in February, because especially with the SMCI short. Like I remember talking to you about this the other day. I entered SMCI because I read a piece of news. It was one of their board, I think, directors or founders sold around like a very large portion of
Okay.
their shares. And I also compared their stock's market cap to their share price and compared it to a stock like Nvidia, when Nvidia is in the trillions with $1,000 share price, and SMCI is purely was just, had a lot of momentum and backing because of their earnings.
Wow.
I took that in a factor too, and I realized, I marked my resistance points and realized, when this hits this, I'm going to look to enter here. If I get a red candle there, two red finishes, I'm in.
Mhm.
Kept my stop tight because the contract size on SMCI was fairly high, because the bid ask spread is kind of big. So, you got to keep your risk pretty intact there. And I hit, and it was great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, we talked about your biggest month and you've had some big days. What was your biggest loss and what did you
Yep.
learn from that loss?
Yeah. So that's a great question. My biggest loss was Netflix earnings. I learned a couple things that day. One, never trade earnings. I will avoid that from here on out.
Yeah.
Never touch that. I thought Netflix was going to have a phenomenal earnings call, but they didn't. They had a very, very poor quarter 3, quarter 4 forecast. I forget which one it was,
Mhm.
but it was pretty bad. And they also didn't please their shareholders. And I ended up, it was just a big mistake, $4,000 hit.
Oof.
But I learned from it, or never to trade earnings after hours. If you trade after hours, you're kind of screwed.
Yeah.
Your stop goes away and all that stuff. So I learned, be very patient. Try not to go for the big swings like that. Stay away from earnings, And it just, I didn't follow my risk strategy either. I completely violated it. And that's one of my golden rules. Like I'll never do that again, and always be more patient and kind of avoid big scenarios, big potential scenarios like that from here on out.
Yeah, I always say the same thing. Never trade through earnings, but we do like at a certain point, a trader will realize like losing is part of your job.
Yeah.
You have to
Yeah.
kind of internalize that and be okay with that.
Mhm.
Whether because it's all stats, it's all odds. So if you're winning 70% of the time, you're going to lose at least 30. How have you
Yep.
been able to kind of, I guess, internalize and be okay with losing, knowing that you have to lose to end up
Yep.
making money?
It's all a mindset thing for me. I'm really big on that. I'm big on how outlook and how you view things. So like the message I kind of portrayed on myself and what I relate to the people, to my students who I teach now is like, every day, you can win every time you trade. If you win, obviously, if you win a trade, you make money, you win there. Because you know what you did, your analysis was completely correct. If you lose a trade, it's a win too, because now you have something to look back on. You have an example of how you can kind of reverse that so you don't lose next time. And you even when you lose, you win, because there's always a takeaway. There's always something you can learn from yourself,
Mhm.
and can take that and always revamp it that way. You can have a different outcome next time. And just, it's a big mindset thing. And I've been very big on that. Well, I look at life like that too. Like even when you lose sometimes in life, you can always pick yourself up and look at that, and learn from it. So that's my message, and that's like what I kind of portray on myself and what I teach my students too.
I like that. I mean, trading's not easy. Have you had like, that rock bottom moment
Mhm.
where you're just
Yeah.
you wanted to give up, or were you always
Yeah.
pretty persistent?
I wanted to give up. I had sophomore year, that summer heading into junior year. I had, I did well at times, but I also was just like, it was just kind of tough, and during the school year too, it was kind of tough because,
Hmm.
my mind wasn't there. I'm a student too, so I had other obligations, but, I really wanted to lock in on trading, and I did, and it paid off now. But like back then it was just so tough. And like, I like questioned, like, is it worth it at times keep doing this? And,
Yeah.
like I'm losing money. And I just stayed persistent and just stuck with it, and just told myself, when I get out, that's what I'm really going to learn, and train myself. And that's what I did.
Yeah. So after that rock bottom, like, what did you do to really change the direction or the trajectory of your performance? And where
Yeah.
did you, or what was it that you did that led to that shift and, where you essentially became profitable?
Yeah. I stopped trading. I stopped live trading.
Okay.
I paper traded, and I just focused on education. And I tested the strategy I use now, and I paper traded with it, and I tried a couple different things. And that was one of them. That was the one thing that worked. It was just completely eliminating the live account,
Mhm.
and paper trading, because and it's beneficial to do that, especially when you're at that rock bottom moment. Where it's like you're on the edge, and you're like, you don't want to lose any more money, but you really want to lock in and learn. I feel like that was the best scenario for me and the best route, and it paid off. It for sure was, because I took a lot of time to really lock in and educate myself on the fundamentals, but the proper technicals too, to really be able to become profitable.
I like that. Yeah, that's really good advice. I mean, whether you're starting out paper trading or you're not doing well trading live and you go back to paper, do you have to stay like pretty consistent in paper trade until you were making money? And did that take a course of weeks or even months? Like, did it
Yeah,
take some time?
yeah, it did. It took a good amount of time. It took a month and a half.
Okay.
But I wanted, the bigger thing was, I just wanted to see myself become consistent.
Mhm.
And when that happened, I was like, okay, maybe I'm ready to enter this, I'm ready to go. And I did, and I was right. And takes a little bit of time, takes a lot of hard work. But it's worth it. It's worth it. And the paper trading was definitely the right way to go, because I like took like I took the pressure off myself, essentially, with the live account,
Yep.
getting every single thing right. And that was like out the window. And that'll like, it cleared my mind up, because then it was like, okay, like I'm okay to mess up here, because I'm just, it's a simulation, like it's paper trading. I'm allowed to mess up and can learn from my mistakes now. And that really just changed everything for me.
Yeah, that's great. That's awesome advice. Have you blown up any accounts before?
Yeah, yeah, won my first one, and then I haven't blown up another one since, and I won't because I've learned from my mistakes.
Good.
But yeah,
So, I mean, part of not blowing up an account is knowing how to manage risk. And I
yeah,
want to hop into like, I thought it was interesting when we spoke earlier.
yeah,
Why do you trade with a very specific amount?
yeah,
And then what are you doing to manage risk with that account? I want
yeah.
to talk about that.
Yeah, for sure. So I have a very, very unique risk strategy, and the big part of it is holding myself to under the $25,000 PDT limit, allowing myself for three trades every 3 to 5 business days, I believe. And I like that because it brings every trade I make, every trade I make is as valuable as the next. So what it does for me is, it's like, okay, I get three trades. I have to make this one count. So I'm going to do every type of research I can. I'm going to take a bunch of time to research, analyze stocks, what I like here, and I'm going to do everything in my power to make this play hit, whether that's a long or a short.
So you're literally limiting yourself on purpose to trading
Yep.
with less than 25K
Yeah.
and remaining under that PDT. You're stuck at only being able to trade 3 trades every 5 trading days.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So it just puts that emphasis and importance on each trade. I mean, that's actually a really, I mean, depends on the way we trade, right? For a day trader, that's not going to work. If someone wants to
Yeah.
day trade, that's not going to work. But swing trading like you are, I think if someone just heard that, they can definitely take that and apply that.
Yeah.
Um, there's cash accounts, but you can also purposefully limit the amount of trades you take. And there are plenty of scenarios, and I'm sure I don't know how long you've been doing that, but I think that would also limit the scenario of revenge trading, which
I was
is
going to hit it. Yep.
so prominent in anyone who's starting out and
Hmm.
trying to make money. Do you think, let's talk about revenge trading, I guess. I obviously am assuming this has helped.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think someone should do to prevent revenge trading besides just limiting their amount of trades they can take?
I think you have to, kind of train yourself. I think it's like, in my personal opinion, I don't think a lot of people can be traders. I think it's a big mindset thing. I think you have to be in the right type of mindset. You can't have that gambler's mindset,
Yeah.
uh, because then that leads to revenge trading. So I think you have to kind of train yourself, to walk away, go to the gym or something, come back to it, revisit it. But if you lose, you just got to get up and walk away. You can't revenge trade, and that's something that you have to teach yourself over time. And I don't think it's really given to you. I think it's, gamblers' mindsets aren't good for, option trading, but I think you really need to train yourself and take the time. That's why the paper trading is important.
Yeah.
That's why holding under 25,000 I think is very important too. Because you ultimately at the end of the day, you'll never grow if you can't manage your risk.
Yeah.
Risk is probably the biggest thing. It's my biggest focus when I trade is just managing my risk, making sure that I'm not gonna lose X amount. Even though I'm prepared to lose it, but I don't want to lose it. I don't want to lose all of it. I want to manage my risk. If the trade does go south, I'm protected and I'm good.
So you trade with 10 to 15K. How are you managing risk?
So I trade every contract. So I'll trade up to, I'll trade $2,000. That's usually, I won't go any more than that. I'll keep it like 1.5 to 2.2, 2.25. I'll stay in that range depending on the stock I'm trading to, because a lot of stocks have wider bid-ask spreads. Therefore, the contract size is a lot higher rather than like SPY where the volume's a lot higher. It's very cheap. Same thing with QQQ. But I'll usually trade with like 1.5 to 2,000.
Okay.
And I will keep my stop loss very, very tight. So I will only allow like a 150 to $200 loss,
Okay.
but then I won't have a TP. I'll have a mental TP, but I will always, I'm always looking at the chart, so I'm always like kind of, I'm noticing where the stock's going, and if I feel like I can make more, I'll make more. If not, I love to take profit, but I'll never set a TP hit like a TP stop loss or a TP
Hmm.
what I'm saying, I'll never set that, but I'll always look to TP because you never want to get greedy. So I'll keep my stop about like 5-10% of what I'm actually placing. So it's very, very tight. And then if it hits it, it hits it. That's fine. It's okay. If it doesn't hit it, that's great. It means I won. So that's how I manage my risk, and that's worked ever since. and you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So it's just the way I go about it.
So you're not trading like a standard, I don't know, risk to reward, or you're not trading fixed levels.
No.
Okay. But you're just like dynamically managing risk.
Yes, it's very interesting, but that's the way it's worked for me. And I like if it's not broke, don't fix it. And I've been successful with it. So it's a
Sure.
different way of trading, but that's the way I like to go about it.
Okay. Do you
Yeah.
know like generally what is your win rate, I guess, with all your trades combined? Are you shooting for a higher or a lower win rate, I guess, or that is just an outcome of your because you're not predetermining
Yeah.
risk.
Yeah.
You're just letting that be dynamic. Are you
Yes.
achieving higher or lower win rates based off of that?
I'm actually at times at February I saw higher. January in the back end I saw higher. June was lower than May and
Okay.
March. But other than that, it's been pretty consistent. And you know, I don't mind the $200. Like I don't mind if I lose $200. Like I don't mind that if I lose out on a trade. But the win rate through those months, January, February was high, was up, and then I saw a little peak, and then it came back down a little bit to reality. But
Okay.
other than that, as long as I'm profitable and above the 50%, 60% win rate, like I'm completely fine with that.
Mhm.
And as long as I'm not taking too many trades a month, like I think that's great too.
Okay. I like that. Um, I guess like covering risk, we've talked about that, talked about psychology a bit, we've talked about your strategy. I want to circle back around. You said you don't think everyone can learn how to trade. What personality traits would you say have attributed to your success trading? If
Yeah.
someone wants to get into trading, how can they like do a self-reflection and see if that's right for them? Like gauge whether trading is going to make sense for them based off of your
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, I think it takes a certain type of person. I think yes, I think people can trade. I think everyone can trade, but I think you need to train yourself and get in the right mindset because it can really, you know, when you're losing, it can really take a toll on your mind, your mental, and it can really mess you up. And you know, that's something I told the kids who I teach now. I told them I said, listen, you're gonna take losses, whatever, but you know, at the end of the day, you have to train yourself to not do these habits of revenge trading and all of that, oversizing on contracts. It's just a learning game, and you have to train yourself. It's like going to the gym. You want to look a certain way. You go to the gym. You train. Same like a sport too. You want to be this good. You got to practice like this.
Yeah.
So it's just a training thing, and you have to train yourself, train your mind not to overreact at times. Take a deep breath, walk away, and that way you kind of overcome those bad habits that every trader faces. Those bad habits are inevitable. You know, we've all revenge traded, we've all done that, but if you can find a way to train yourself, train your mind not to go to those bad habits, I believe everyone can do it. It's just you got to be able to train yourself and
Do you have any like rituals you'd attribute to your success, like gym or I don't
yeah.
know. Be-
I work out. I like to work out in the mornings. The days I don't trade, I love to work out in the mornings.
Okay.
But trading, I wake up around 7:30, 8 o'clock. I'll do my fundamental analysis research the night before.
Mhm.
And from there, I'll get up, drink a big glass of water, and then hop on the computer, hop in the chat, and talk with my guys and get ready for the day.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Seems like you're passionate about trading. What's the long-term goal?
Long-term goal. I want to, when it's all said and done, I want to be a seven-figure trader. And I also want to help a ton of people. I want to grow a Discord. I have 4 students now, like I mentioned, but I want to grow that. I want that to be 100 to 200 to 1,000. I want to, teach people in the long haul and be very, very profitable so people can see like, like I'm good now. Like I make money now, but I want people to see like, wow, like this is insane. Like this age, 7 figures, like that's what I want people to see. And I just want to help as many people as I can.
That's an awesome goal. And I'm so glad to have been part of this success. I know we
Yeah.
didn't talk about it much, but you started in my group and now look where you've ended up. So I
Yeah.
know you don't trade exactly like I do, and I think that's actually really cool. I think everyone you can learn and take and adapt or take pieces from different people's trading strategies. So like you figured out what works for you.
Yeah.
And that's the coolest thing for me. But if someone is like kind of in that place where they're debating on just finding a mentor, investing in themselves, their education, or just taking the route of, hey, I'm going to learn this myself and I'm going to, fail and lose money until I figure it out. What would you kind of advise? I'm assuming I know, but is seeking a mentor or trying to do it on your own the better solution in your eyes?
Seeking a mentor and seeking a community. I joined because I wanted to surround myself with a bunch of people who are like-minded and are very eager to make money in the markets. People who I can collaborate with you, and that worked. And the community has been phenomenal. There's profits posted every single day in that chat, and being able to collaborate and kind of bounce off ideas has been a wonder. It's been great and there hasn't been any regrets since I've done that. And everything I've learned, I've just portrayed to the people who I teach now, and it's been great. No regrets there, and it's a good community, really
That's
good.
awesome. I appreciate that. And I see you doing the same. So that's great.
Thank
The more people we can help, the better.
yeah.
Any final words of advice, anything you want to share, the platform is yours.
Um, don't be afraid. If you want a community, want to surround yourself with very high level thinking people who are very eager to make money in the market. This is a great place to be.
Good.
No regrets. My numbers have shown. If you have a dream, just go for it.
That's awesome. Thank you, Jack. Thank you for coming on. I hope you guys did enjoy. Now, if you guys are inspired, motivated, and looking to learn how to trade yourself, I will put a link in the description below where you can join my mentorship group and you can walk the same path that Jack has into finding consistent profitability trading options in the stock market. So again, the first link will be in the description below. Subscribe for more. I hope you did enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one.